Hello and welcome to the channel. And last upload I said I was going to do a hopes and predictions video for the future of the Sonic franchise, and it's this video. In this video I am going to be talking about my hopes and predictions for the future of mostly 3 potential projects that this franchise could have next, and also I'm going to be spoiling the third as well as the other 2 movies and the Knuckles TV series. So if you haven't seen any of them, go watch them, they're all great. Yes, even the Knuckles TV series is great. And then come back to this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy my content, make sure you consider hitting the like button and subscribe and hitting the notification bell so you never miss a new upload from me. And with that said, let's get into the first project prediction. So yeah, obviously I'm going to start talking about Sonic Movie 4, which releases in spring of 2027. And we have a lot to speculate about this film, because not just one, but 2 characters were teased during the mid-credits scene of Sonic Movie 3. And the characters that were introduced are none other than Metal Sonic and Amy Rose, which has me insanely excited for this next film. Metal Sonic is my second favorite Sonic villain, second only to Black Doom. And Amy is one of my favorite characters of the franchise in general. So to start this off, the question that pops into my mind first is which video games is this going to be based on? There's either Sonic CD, which introduces both Amy and Metal Sonic into the franchise, or there's Sonic Heroes, which the story of which has Metal Sonic as the main antagonist. And out of those 2 options, I feel like Sonic Heroes is more likely to be the main inspiration, albeit with some possible elements from Sonic CD. Like how Sonic Movie 3's main inspiration was Sonic Adventure 2, but it had some elements of Shadow 05 in there. And there's 3 reasons why I don't think that Sonic CD will be the main inspiration for Sonic Movie 4. The first one being the fact that the integral part of Sonic CD's story involves time travel, and I just don't think that they're going to dive super into time travel in movie 4. Maybe until movie 5 though. Do I think that Amy and Metal Sonic are going to come from the future? Absolutely. Honestly, I wouldn't doubt that possibility. Metal Sonic arriving on Earth is a reference to Terminator, I believe. I honestly just don't think that Sonic and friends are going to be going through time during movie 4. I think they're just going to have Amy and Metal Sonic come from the future. Metal Sonic can attack the present, and Amy will try to help them, and then they can introduce Silver in the post-credit scene for Sonic Movie 4, and he can say something like, "They're messing with the timeline, I gotta put a stop to this." But I could easily be proven wrong. I just don't think that the story is going to involve time travel much. Speaking of the story, I think that's the second reason I don't think that they're gonna adapt Sonic CD, because Sonic CD's story is basically a damsel in distress story. Amy runs into Sonic, and you can tell that she has some sort of affection towards him because of the hearts that's coming off of her, and then she gets kidnapped by Metal Sonic, and then Sonic spends the rest of the game trying to save Amy from Metal Sonic. I just hope they don't turn Amy into the typical damsel in distress. I just hope that they make her capable of handling her own. However, I also don't want them to lean too far into the stoic badass girl boss type either. Basically, in the 4th movie, I want Amy to be both strong yet vulnerable, similar to how she was in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Basically, I just want them to adapt a loose version of the story in Sonic Heroes, with a couple references to Sonic CD. The third reason why I think they're going to adapt Sonic Heroes is escalation. Because in order for a sequel like this one to be more successful, which I assume Paramount would want this movie to make as much money as physically possible, is to escalate things from the last one. And honestly, if they want to escalate the franchise from this, they're most likely going to need Neo Metal Sonic and Metal Overlord. I mean, come on, it'll be fun. Sonic and his friends, this will be a whole new adventure. They've never fought a kaiju before. Okay, well, they haven't fought a kaiju that's just a big metal robot yet. Uh, they haven't fought one that's imbued with ultimate Okay, fine. Maybe it's not treading new ground for this franchise, but damn it, it would be cool, okay? That does, however, lead me to the characteristics that they're gonna portray for Metal Sonic and Amy in the next movie. And I will start off with Metal Sonic because I am very confident in him being the main antagonist of the fourth movie. Honestly, with Metal Sonic, I really hope that they go with his personality that he has in the games. In the games, he was created to be Sonic's better in almost every way, shape, or form. And Eggman in the games programmed Metal Sonic to think so much like Sonic that he eventually started thinking that he is the real Sonic, occasionally sacrificing a killing shot to like challenge Sonic to a race or something just to prove that he is the better Sonic. And I believe that adding Neo Metal Sonic and Metal Overlord into this fourth movie would be the right move by them. Neo Metal Sonic and Metal Overlord are two alternate forms for Metal Sonic that were introduced both in the same game, which just so happens to be Sonic Heroes. Metal Sonic's Neo form grants him the ability to talk, to turn his body into like a liquid metal state that he's able to morph and shape into whatever shape he wants, like shape-shifting, sort of T-1000 style, and also gives him the ability to copy biological data to copy certain attacks. Like, for example, Shadow's Chaos Control ability. And after copying the data from Sonic and his friends, Neo Metal Sonic became Metal Overlord. Metal Overlord is a big kaiju version of Metal Sonic that is so powerful he can stir up storms just by transforming. Metal Overlord is honestly probably the best way that they can escalate from the third movie. And as for Amy, I think she's going to be introduced into the fourth film as an ally right off the bat, because I honestly doubt they're going to do a villains to rival storyline for the third time in a row. That would just get repetitive. So that begs the question, what is her dynamic going to be with Sonic? Because on paper it sounds obvious. Like, in the game she was introduced as a love interest for Sonic, but the game director of Sonic the Hedgehog thought it didn't make sense for Sonic to settle down into a romantic relationship with her, and as a result created like a more one-sided sort of relationship of Amy obsessing over Sonic and Sonic rejecting her advances and sometimes coming off as like a jerk. Over the years and interpretations, her love for Sonic has been toned down a bit. She still loves him and still like has a crush on him, but she's less obsessive than she used to be. So that's it, right? Just make Sonic and Amy romantically involved with each other in the fourth movie? Well, I have heard some people say that they don't want a romantic relationship for them and they want their relationship to be platonic, with most of them saying it's because it wouldn't fit the tone of the franchise. Personally, I disagree, honestly. I think Amy having a crush on Sonic, or maybe possibly Sonic having a crush on Amy just to switch things up a little bit, could work tonally with this universe. And I believe we've already been getting plenty of hints towards that, them going towards that route. Because in a recent interview, Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic, has said that we're steadily seeing Sonic grow and mature both mentally and physically as the franchise goes on. And of course, another way to step that up is by giving him some romance in his life. And then also the writers, Pat Casey and Matt Miller, have also been interviewed, and that they hinted towards a possible romantic connection between him and Amy. Whether or not you want them to end up in a romantic relationship or a platonic one, I just hope that Jeff and his team doesn't disappoint us with their character portrayal for Amy. Personally, I hope they keep at least some of their romance, but if you disagree with me, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. I'd like to hear your opinion. The last thing I want to say about Sonic Movie 4 and for my predictions about it are who's going to be voicing Amy and Metal Sonic. I'll start with Amy because hers is quick and obvious. Assuming they recast her and don't bring back her video game voice actress, then the perfect fit, I believe, is of course the one and only Chris Pratt.
Are you stupid or something?
Okay, but in all seriousness, I think Anna Kendrick would be great for the role. I just liked her performance as Poppy from the Trolls movies, and I just think she would make a great Amy with her bubbly personality. But I also think that Kristen Bell and Haley Steinfeld would make great Amy's too. And as for Metal Sonic, I need to clarify something first. Is that Metal Sonic in his base form doesn't talk. He's 100% the silent type. But in his Neo form, he does talk. So if they do go with Neo Metal Sonic in the fourth movie, then in that case, who would voice him? I've seen a few ideas floating around. I've seen some options that would bring some star power to the characters, such as Josh Brolin or Vin Diesel, as well as some choices who's voice acted for the games before, like Roger Craig Smith, the current voice of Sonic in the games, and Ryan Drummond, who used to voice Metal Sonic in the games. Heck, I've even seen Keith David being thrown around as an option. But personally, when it comes to Keith, I disagree. And it's not that I don't think that Keith David wouldn't make a good Metal Sonic. I'm sure he would. But I just feel like if he were to come into the movieverse, I feel like there's a better character that suits him better that I'll get to later in the video. But personally, I think they should have Ben Schwartz voice Metal Sonic. It would make sense lore-wise. Metal Sonic in the games was created to be identical to Sonic in every way, and I assume the person who created Metal in the films would have done so for the same reason. So why not just make him sound identical to Sonic 2? And it's not that Ben can't play a menacing character. After seeing his role of Teddy Lobo in Renfield, I think he'd personally make a pretty menacing Metal Sonic in my opinion. But with the voice actors out of the way, that's all I have to say for Sonic Movie 4 specifically. I'm not going to talk too much about the other two projects because I had the most to say about Sonic Movie 4, and also I don't want this video to take a month to edit, so yeah, we're moving on to the next project. Now with this project, I'm going to get a little less, oh, I think they're going to do this, and a little bit more, they're probably not going to do this, but it'd be cool if they did. Now, Idris Elba has come out to say that he wants to do a Knuckles and Shadow TV show, and I feel like the highest chance that has to become like a thing is through a Knuckles Season 2. And as for the plot, I have a fun idea. Because we don't know what happened to the Master Emerald or the Chaos Emeralds at the end of Sonic 3. No one acknowledges it, and the last time we see him, Shadow is in his super form in space. And also, Josh Miller and Pat Casey did say in an interview that they wanted to explore new worlds and zones from the games. So what if after the Eclipse Cannon explosion, Shadow gets knocked out of his super form and survives, obviously, because of the post-credit scene, but it also scatters the Chaos Emeralds around the universe throughout like different worlds and stuff like that. And then Shadow finds Knuckles, and then they work together to find the rest of the Chaos Emeralds. And they can even take this as an opportunity to introduce Rouge as like some sort of rival for the show, because like they could like have Shadow and Knuckles go to the first world and find one of the Chaos Emeralds in Rouge's hand, and Knuckles could like let it slip that like there's 7 of them and that they're very powerful, and that intrigues her, so she basically makes it like a race to beat them to see who can get them first. And then the whole thing could end with Knuckles and Shadows retrieving the Chaos Emeralds, and Rouge even joining them to fight the final villain of the show, who I think should be Iblis. He was mentioned in the first season, and I feel like it would just be cool to bring him back as like a rematch for Knuckles. Like, yeah, them doing the repetitiveness of rivals to friends in Rouge's case would be annoying, but I am willing to stomach that kind of twist if we get a fight between Iblis and Knuckles that isn't this. It's an extremely ambitious idea, I know, and it's most likely never gonna happen. But if they can pull something like this, it would be absolutely incredible, and I would have endless amounts of respect for Jeff Fowler and his crew. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about a potential for Knuckles Season 2. Yeah, I told you it wasn't going to be much, mostly because this was just me throwing random crap at the wall and just to see if any of it sticks. But yeah, on to the next project. The next project is a little longer. I do have a little bit more to say about it. And the final project I'm going to be talking about in this video is a standalone Shadow spin-off. So if the rumor that was going around on the internet that if Sonic 3 does good enough at the box office, then we'll get a Shadow spin-off movie. If that does happen, I would like for the movie to be based off of Shadow 05, obviously. Which, fun fact, was actually the first ever Sonic the Hedgehog game that little 8-year-old me ever played. And if we do get the movie, I would love for it to be an Earthbound movie where that sees Shadow defending the Earth from Black Doom and the Black Arms. Personally, I would really love to see a live-action Black Doom. I think it would go hard. I also hope that during the movie we can explore more of Shadow's backstory, because they actually changed his backstory in the movie. In the games, he was created by Gerald Robotnik using Black Doom's DNA, but in the movies, he just arrived on a meteor and they decided to experiment on him. My personal theory is that Black Doom created Shadow and then sent him down to Earth as some sort of like a drone to scope out Earth to eventually come down and try to conquer it and try to get Shadow to be one of his horsemen in the apocalypse. But then obviously Shadow will refuse and then defeat Black Doom, and maybe this first movie can end with Black Doom actually escaping and threatening to conquer Shadow's homeworld instead, which could probably be like Mobius or something. And then it could end with Shadow leaving Earth to try to defend his home planet, and it could actually be the beginning of a Shadow the Hedgehog trilogy. And in the second one, you can even have it be a race between Shadow and Black Doom to see who can reach Mobius faster. And if she isn't already introduced in my idea for the Knuckles Season 2, then they can even introduce Rouge and Omega into this, and they can help Shadow. And by the end, you can even have a fight between Shadow and Black Doom, and have them both arrive at Mobius, and have Black Doom start his invasion. And then the third movie could just be Team Dark versus Black Doom, and you could even have it based on Shadow Generations, where throughout the second and third movie Shadow can be gaining the Doom abilities and to help him in the fight, and by the end of the movie you can even have Black Doom transform into Neo Devil Doom and have Shadow kill him off once and for all, and even have Shadow stay in Mobius as their defender. The whole trilogy idea is completely out there and is 100% like never gonna happen. But again, just like the Knuckles Season 2, it would be really cool if it did happen. But even if they did only do that first movie that's only based on Shadow 05, that would still be hella exciting. And as for who could voice Black Doom in the movies, my first pick for who could voice him is Keith David. I honestly just think he would make a great Black Doom voice actor, because like his voice is certainly deep enough for the role, and he can definitely play a menacing character as his role in Amphibia, as King Andreas has told me. Plus, I just really love Keith David and would love to see him in this franchise. Or, I guess, hear him. But yeah, with that said, that's all I have for this video. If you agree with anything that I brought up, or disagree, or you even have your own ideas, I'd love to hear about them and hear about your ideas in the comments down below. And hopefully we won't have to wait too long to hear some more news about the future of this franchise. But yeah, if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.